So I've often heard this sentiment that women have it easier dating than men do. That women have an easy time finding partners, but men have a hard time finding partners. And I really need people to think about this and think about why they believe this. Because the first thing that I feel the need to point out is the math. For the sake of this conversation, we're going to set all of the lovely gays aside. We're going to assume that all of the gay men, gay women, bisexual men, bisexual women all just cancel out all the non-binary people. Like we'll get to you in another video. Leaving just considering heterosexual couples is a very heterosexual conversation. A couple consists of one man and one woman, which means that the number of women who have found a partner is exactly equal to the number of men who have found a partner, which means that for every single lonely man is a lonely woman. Every single one accounted for. If we're going to ignore this basic mathematical fact, and we're also going to ignore all the lonely women, you could see, people have suggested there's a demand imbalance, that women in the dating market are in higher demand, getting to easily pick from a buffet of suitors. Those who are chosen are the men that end up in relationships. So normally I would just immediately bring up the fact that there are all these lonely women, equal in number to the number of lonely men who are not able to accomplish this. But since we're ignoring that for this section, I guess I'll not mention that. In this situation, we're also ignoring the realities of dating as a woman. The realities of dating as a woman are often ignored, discounted, and discarded for the sake of centering and prioritizing the male experience. The first preliminary point is that dating apps are not real life, that it is, generally speaking, far more fruitful to find activities and locations that you enjoy, spend time there, talk to people, meet friends of friends. But this is hard, and sitting inside and scrolling on a dating app is very easy. But setting that aside for now, the reality of the dating app experience is that oftentimes women and men are both unable to find matches. Hence, again, I must stress the equal number of single men and single women. The difference that does get highlighted is that women often receive more likes on dating apps than men do. And this is real, but it's vastly misunderstood in practice. So I have been on both sides of this as a trans woman. I used to date as a man, and now I date as a woman. As a man, I might, in 2 months of using the app, not receive any matches. But as a woman, I might receive 10, and 4 of which begin the conversation in a sexual manner. Now, for those of you who have been conditioned to lack empathy for female experiences, let me remind you that this is predatory behavior, not a compliment. We'll come back to this. 3 more of those 10 will admit that they don't want to go on to a date. They only want me to drive to their house at midnight for you know what. Now, for those same men who lack empathy for female experiences, you have to understand this is an extremely risky thing to do and categorically not a romantic proposition. Now, the final 3 will likely ghost. But at the end of the day, regardless of how many initial likes were received, both the man and the woman on the dating app have found 0 viable matches. 0. Hence, again, the equal number of single men and single women. But if I'm a man hearing about this, I might protest and say that, oh, I don't do those things though. I just don't get any attention. That, I'd rather receive too much bad attention than no attention at all. But this is a maladaptive view born of pain, which I can understand and empathize with, but one that also decides to ignore all of the pain of women's dating experiences and fails to correctly identify the issue at hand. The issue, in both cases, is predatory men. There is a significant percentage of men who sexualize and dehumanize women, who dislike, do not respect, and will not listen to women, but feel entitled to their bodies and will not take no for an answer. Men must understand and reckon with this fact and how it negatively impacts the realities of dating for both genders. These predatory men are a problem for both genders. They pose a direct threat to women and take up space in dating apps. This means that commonly, the experience of a woman on a dating app is finding matches, being hopeful, and being met with a predator instead. This experience is extremely off-putting, and the reality is that dating apps become a portal through which predators can enter into the otherwise safe environments for women. For many women, the act of using a dating app can feel like self-harm, exposing oneself to predators knowingly in hopes that one might find a piece of hay in the needle stack. This leads to there being substantially fewer women on these apps, which exacerbates the imbalance of likes and also forces women to have their guards up even higher, to be more apprehensive, to be more cautious, more reserved, less open, and quicker to turn away. The irresponsibility of dating apps and the failure to moderate these bad actors has decimated the effectiveness of these apps for meeting potential matches for both genders. Because this is just all barriers for two people who want the same thing to even find each other in the first place. Once they do, gender plays little role. People want what they want out of a relationship, and two people may be compatible or they may not. The reality is that looking at dating likes as attention flattens the reality beyond recognition. When a man is prey to a phishing scam or is beaten and robbed, we don't consider this attention in a flattering dating sense. But when a woman is predated upon through a dating app, it's seen as attention in a desirable and flattering sense. These are men who intend to commit violent sexual crimes against women, to force themselves on the women regardless of what she is interested in. These are the digital equivalent of a man exposing and touching himself to women on the street. Yet, because it happens through Tinder or on Hinge, it's treated the same way as if a normal person who wanted to date slipped in the DMs with a, hey, what's up? And these are categorically different things. And I want to also state that this is the primary issue of these dating apps. This is not the only issue of these dating apps. Women are also not absolved of all kinds of wrongdoing on these apps. There are predatory women as well. And I'm going to have another video about how, people of all genders can avoid predators of all genders when it comes to dating, when it comes to finding friendships and all that.